And just out of boredom, I'm gonna make another video. Maybe talk a bit about my recent health, like I have been. I forced myself to get out and go to the this home Circleville football game, even though it was like got into like the low. I think it was low. Okay. Yeah, by the time of the football game, it was in the low 40s. And recently my anxiety medication was increased. Since I was tapering off too fast, I'd made it down to 7 milligrams, but because I went too fast, I had bad withdrawal symptoms, so my doctor bumped me back up to 20 milligrams. And for whatever reason, he has me, like, Valium is a really long-acting drug. Like, you can actually only take it, like, twice a day, like on this chart, for it to work really effectively. And you actually, when you're tapering down, you actually stop. You go from like 3 to 2, and then you get down to once a day when you're down to tiny 10 milligrams, and then you just creep down from that. But jump back up to 20. So, and diazepam, the off-brand name for Valium, can make you really sleepy. Not necessarily like sleepy to where you'll actually like lay down and then sleep all the time. At least not in my case. But and it doesn't really feel like a drowsy feeling. Like if you take too much cough syrup, it just makes you feel like blah. And then it's supposed to help my near faintness and anxiety attacks. It definitely helps with the anxiety attacks. I still have them, but that's why I'm tapering off because you're not, you get increased anxiety like the longer you stay on it, since it's a short-term medication. So trying to get off of it and then go from there. But just feel medication makes you feel like you're gonna faint all the time anyways, because of how strong it is. Even though I'm on 20 milligrams is still a very small dose. If you take the equivalent of diazepam compared to clonazepam, I was up to 10 milligrams of diazepam is equivalent to half a milligram of clonazepam, and I was up to 2.5. So it's 45 milligrams of diazepam that I was up to at one point, and then I doctor briefly had me up to 3, and then that's when my breathing, it almost made my breathing stop. Could have went into like a coma or something, or I could have just died, stopped breathing. And that's when I started looking into the long-term use effects, and then in turn found out about withdrawing and then withdrawal symptoms and all that in the process. So okay, I got some random stuff laying on my counter. These are like expensive as far as like price per ounce, but cereal bars, but I try and force myself to get out, ride my bike, go around town, go to the library. Go to the library like more than anywhere else, since I don't have internet here anymore. So so yeah, I always have those things on the go. Compared to regular cereal, I have gonna ask neurology about this. For some reason, like I've developed a really high sensitivity to like any form of caffeine, even smaller sources like chocolate. So I decided had already known about my sensitivity to chocolate, but I decided to the cereal just looked really appealing, and I can't help it. Even if it was one of the more expensive ones, I do get food stamps, so I decided to splurge and here to live life and try out different things while you're here. So I at least wanted to taste it. And by the way, it not only looks like just a more chocolate version of Cookie Crisp, but it actually it's what it tastes like. And I'm a little crazy. I should have just tried like a couple spoonfuls in a bowl and see how I felt. But I ate like an entire bowl, and then like my heart went crazy, and like my brain felt like it was on overload, and started having palpitations and sent me into an anxiety attack. And same thing happens if I even drink like a diluted Nesquik and milk. So I got like huge thing if anyone local wants it. I doubt I have that many people that watch my video, but I really don't even trust taking it. That's all it is though. These things are expensive. They're like $7 or $8 for this huge thing. Maybe my little sister will take it. And then from all my health problems, I've had lost appetite, and even when I was like fairly inactive and out of shape, I was at least back down to the weight. I dropped down to the weight I was at in my senior year of high school, down to 195, which when I was in the Navy, I made it up to 220 when I was like eating like crazy, working all the time, working out and playing basketball on top of that, and taking a crap load of GNC over-the-counter bodybuilding supplements, and then like one like altered form of Danabol that was chemically changed in order to make it legal. So I don't know, I never really looked into it, so I don't know how much it actually compared to the actual steroid Danabol. But I definitely I remember in 2 weeks when I put my mind to it on like all these supplements, including that supposed altered form of Danabol, in 14 days my weight shot up an entire 15 pounds. And I wasn't taking any like weight gainer like this. I was just eating a lot. But when I looked in the mirror, I still, of course, I've always had skinny forearms, because I don't really do like wrist curls to work on them. Just every other body group I focus on. But so yeah, I was at 220, and like that was back in like 2006, and then 2000 to 2008 when I was taking my final shots at trying to either get into a D1 school for college basketball while I still had the eligibility and was still young enough for someone to take me onto a team. And then after that, deciding to say the heck with it with college and try out for a sports agent. I was my weight would fluctuate between like 205 and 215, and then like I was saying, like a year ago I was at 195, dealing with my health problems, and then a few months ago I started having a lost appetite, and like my symptoms were snowballing on top of each other, so like couldn't get out much because I was dizzy all the time and near faint, more near faint than dizzy. And then because I couldn't get out all the time, I had less reason for my body to, crave food for energy. So my weight started dropping, and in between then I had, if you had seen one of my past videos, I sprained my right ankle pretty bad. It's still not completely strengthened back. It's been a few months. So I had, thankfully my lost appetite didn't turn into anorexia, but I dropped all the way from 195 down to 176, and then right now and then as I was fighting back on gaining my weight, and I made it to 185, but then I recently took a dip back down to 182. And if this didn't have darn chocolate in it, I would, this is weight gainer and protein powder, I would be pounding the rest of this stuff to get my weight back up healthfully. I wouldn't want to just put on mass. Body fat. I would want to work out and put on muscle at the same time. I don't know. Maybe I'll slowly start taking some and build up tolerance. I don't know how that works with. Well, I guess maybe it does. I don't know. I'm clueless about how that works with caffeine. I know that people think that they can do that with alcohol, but the more you drink alcohol, the less tolerant. Your body builds up a physical tolerance to the side effects, but the more you drink alcohol, obviously, the more messes up your body. Another thing, just a week and a half ago, it was up in the 80s, and then all of a sudden it started dropping down to the mid-60s. One day, I remember one day it was 80, and then 2 days later it dropped down to high of 55. Oh yeah, there's my, there's the, trying to remember what that's called, I think it's the Pontiac, I think it's a Grand Am instead of a Grand Prix, whatever one it is. I didn't even realize that they made supercharged version of those, so that's what that is. And it's kind of funny because it's got a handicap sticker. Guess there's no reason why a handicapped person can't drive a faster car. Oh. And then here's my ugly old red van. Trying to decide if I want to sell it or not. My mom wants me to get back and try and get back to work, get some, so I can support myself, and continue to live like a hermit. So she went ahead and paid renewed my tags and registration for me, which is, $135 for another year, and But I bought that van for $950, and the like I went on Kelley Blue Book, and I knew it needed work on it, so like the lowest thing it would let me select for the condition it was in was fair condition, and even lowering it to fair condition, it still said the person to person Blue Book value was 1200, and if I like bumped it up to a slightly higher condition, it said 1300. Oh, but I'm sure it's more towards the bottom one. So if I can sell it for maybe a little more than I got it for, at least enough to make up for the registration my mom paid for, I could just give her that money back, and then have some money to just to have in general for whatever. The problem is I already owned that car before. Had already had the money set aside for that car. I had planned to buy it before I moved into this apartment, which is through HUD Housing. Oh man, I'm getting near faint. My vision just started going in and out. Probably because I've been making so many damn videos this morning. A little dehydrated. That's just another example caught on camera. Having to lay down because I don't know, even if I would have had the camera on my face, I don't know if it's not like it can catch my brain activity if I'm not having any facial expressions. I'm set up to start seeing a psychiatrist within the next couple of months. You're required to see a caseworker and do some other registration things first. But shortly after like my crazy crash from tapering off my medication too fast, I was talking with the registration caseworker, and I was having a crazy messed up brain function, and I feel like an idiot now, knowing that my doctor went ahead and increased my medication when I was having to go through this orientation with this caseworker, and my mom was there, and I was like, my brain was like so disoriented and messed up because it's used to relying on the benzo metabolites to perform certain processes, and I didn't have enough in my system, and so my brain was literally misfiring and like a broken robot. And I asked both the caseworker and my mom, I'm like, can you guys even like tell that like what I'm going through right now? And like they couldn't tell. And the caseworker, this place I went to, it's like really busy, and they have people with like actual complicated like mental retardation and all kinds of psychological problems. So even if the caseworker noticed anything, I was just another patient to her. What else was I gonna say? I was talking about if I were to sell my car, technically, am supposed to report that income to HUD Housing. So I don't know what the threshold is, but I'm just taking a wild guess here. But I think I think it might be as little as like $400 a month. Whatever the threshold is, if you meet it, they will take 30%